Hello everybody, today a short but nonetheless very important and exciting video because at long last I am able to update you with what's been going on with my Toyota Celica GT4. Yes, I know it's been a long old time since the last update, but as you're probably aware, there's a few things in 2020 that didn't go quite to plan. In fact, it's been over a year since my last video and since I last saw the car myself, so I'm very excited to be able to finally be reunited with her. She's currently with the very good people at Pro Repair here in Telford. Now, what's been going on? Why has it taken so long to update you on the car? Well, when I first bought it, I was told a few things about the car by the person selling it. They turned out to be not quite as true as I had hoped, like the fact that it should have had a full glass out respray, when in fact it hadn't, that it had no mechanical issues whatsoever, when in fact it did have a few. Nothing super major, but enough to really annoy me and honestly make me fall out of love with what was really one of my childhood dream cars. So, about a year and a bit ago, I had it bundled up and taken away by a friend of mine, Ashley, who was going to start the slow restoration process. Now, the intention always was that it was going to take a good 5 or 6 months anyway. Ashley works on cars as a sort of hobby, although he's very good at it, and I needed time to be able to get the money together to actually pay him for all the work that he was going to be doing. COVID hit, and then everything just basically got put on hold. I wasn't sure what my financial situation was going to be, he wasn't sure what he was going to be able to do, and then everything just stopped. I wasn't really too worried about it because with no work being done, that meant I didn't have any bills to pay for the car. However, once things started to pick back up again at the second half of last year, we decided, right, we want to get the car ready and good to go, and I wanted it back on the driveway by Christmas. The eagle-eyed of you will notice it's not Christmas anymore. That's come and gone. Things were all going fairly well. He'd prepped the car mostly, pulled some of it apart, and we were all ready to start moving on and getting the car into a paint shop just before Christmas time. Unfortunately, a few things went wrong, and I found myself needing somebody to take over the paintwork of the car. Now, this isn't really something that I want to trust to just anybody, really, and I find paint is one of those things where truly you get as good a job as you pay for. Now, fortunately, earlier in 2020, a company called Pro Repair had got in touch with me when I got the Ferrari, and they'd offered to help me with a lot of the paintwork on that car because it does need a little bit of attention. Now, I remembered that because they're one of the best, nicest and friendliest companies who got in touch with me after I picked that car up. So I phoned Daniel here and said to him if he'd be interested in looking not so much at the Ferrari, but at my Toyota instead. Now, as it turns out, the guys here do love their classics as well as their modern stuff too. So they said they'd happily take it on board, give it a look over, and then come back to me with a price. Well, we've now agreed how much it's all going to cost, and it is going to cost me a lot more than originally planned, but I'm happy because I'm quite convinced, having seen the quality of their work here, that I am going to be getting a very nice car returned to me. So, without any further ado, let's show you the car. And those of a nervous disposition, be warned. Brace yourself, it doesn't look pretty right now. Well, here she is, and as you can see, she's in rather a sorry state. I feel like this is the kind of middle of Car SOS moment. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Car SOS is a TV show here in Great Britain. Absolutely brilliant. It's on Discovery Channel. Go and watch it. They do people's cars up in secret, hand them back. And halfway through the show, they'll get the family over to show them how the thing is going, and they'll be presented with what they think is going to be a nice finished car and is in fact a bare chassis. And that's this car's moment. This is basically its lowest point. This is as bad as it's ever going to be. In actual fact, this is not really a bad thing. This is a very important, crucial stage. As you can see, a lot of it's been prepped and rubbed down. We're going to talk a little bit more as we go back that way, but I want to start with this. This is a replica C1 bumper. I bought this for a couple of reasons. I wasn't quite in love with the standard front end of the GT4. It was a little bit soft, a little bit too rounded, lacked some aggression, didn't really balance out the back of the car. My car didn't have fog lights on it. This bumper doesn't need fog lights. So I thought, you know what, rather than buying fog lights and things, I'll just get this, I'll stick it on the front end and it'll look really good, won't it? I don't like it. I don't like it. The quality, I think, is not really quite good enough. It's been a pain in the arse to try and get it to actually fit at all. And I'm just going to go back to the OEM one, buy some fog lights, and I'll probably put some spats or a little lip or something on it to sort out the aggression factor that I think is missing from the car. So this is not staying. This is going to be going. As you can tell, Many pieces of this car are missing. They've been pulled off in preparation for the spray work. Now let me show you a couple of things that bugged me about this car from when I got it. It's these windows. This has always bugged the hell out of me. You see, when I bought the car, I was told it had a full glass out respray. When I saw all the overspray on these rubbers, I thought, well, they can't have come out when the thing was sprayed. I looked through the history folder and it turns out the car was supposed to have had a glass out respray. But one of the previous owners from the guy that sold it to me realised the car had some rust on it. And his paint shop didn't have the time to do a full respray and sort the rust. So he made, I think, probably the right decision. They sorted out the rust. And indeed, this car is pretty free of corrosion. We haven't really found anything to worry about. But this spray job is not good enough. And because he didn't do a full spray on the car, it means that it's several shades of white. And that has always rather annoyed me. As you can probably tell, the tailgate is not white at all. Now, don't worry, I am not colour changing this car. It's not going to be red. It's going to stay Toyota 040 white. The reason this tailgate has gone on is quite simple. I always wanted my GT4 to have the big, proper spoiler. My car, being a 96 model, had the 3-post spoiler. And that meant my tailgate had 3 holes in it rather than 2, which you have for the high-rise spoiler. Now, I've got a genuine spoiler blocks, but rather than trying to drill new holes, fill old ones and all that stuff in my tailgate, it seemed easier and quicker just to buy a new one, which we're then going to have colour matched to match the rest of the car. And there are other problems with the car that the guys here are not going to be able to sort out. We had some running issues. I think it's a boost leak issue. I had some issues with the gearbox too. And I am sort of doing things slightly haphazard, a little bit backwards. Normally I'd like to do the mechanical stuff first and then cosmetics. It's just so happened that this is how everything has sort of fallen into place. And the mechanical side of things on this car really, I think, isn't actually going to be anywhere near as dramatic as all the cosmetic stuff. But the big important news is she's getting sorted. She's getting done. She is in very good hands and happy to have seen her again. All the guys here really love it. And I cannot wait to see this thing on the road. More than that, I'm going to get them to take plenty of photos and things of the whole process so you can see it all finished. And of course, when the car is done and ready, which I hope is going to be in maybe a couple of months' time, you're all going to get to see it. Now, they've even asked the question, am I going to go and put the Castrol livery, the Toyota Team Europe livery, more accurately, on this car? Not yet. I'm going to enjoy it in its pristine white state. Once it's all sprayed and done, these guys have a sister company which deals with detailing and things, and they're getting the whole thing sealed. So hopefully it's going to make it a little bit easier for me to sort of keep on top of it and keep it maintained and cleaned over the next few years. But if I go rallying, if I go to the Wales Rally GB, if we're allowed to, if spectators are back there by the end of this year, I will get it liveried up. I will go down there because it's got to be done, hasn't it? But I'm really, really so happy to be able to actually start getting projects on the channel done. The S2000 and now this. It's really exciting for the first time in my life to actually be able to do things like this to these cars. And I couldn't have done that without the help of people like the guys here at Pro Repair, doing me a bit of a favour on the car, and all of you for watching, allowing me to keep paying the bills. So that's an update on the car. If you've got anything that needs sorting or repairing, be it old or new, do give them a touch because they're really nice, friendly, and importantly, passionate people. That's it for now. See you for the next one. Bye-bye.